Okay. Here I am. Sinner. Sinner of sinners. People have been rough to me, used me, abused me, and I'm rough to other people. Life can harden you, right? Then all of a sudden somebody says to me, but I love you. You're right, you love me. You might be the worst sinner in the world, committing all sorts of things. You love me. First of all, I don't believe it. If you love me, you wouldn't let me go through all this in my life. You know, you might be angry at God, right? So you're living your life and you're sinning, and when you think about trying to go to church, you don't go to church. Why? Because you're afraid. The fear of the Lord is already in you, but you figure if you go to church, you'll be going by God. He might judge you. But worse than that, you hate God because you can't abide by Him. You live in sin because that's more familiar to you. You have a rebellion towards God because you see you can't love a God that's all wrath. Of course, the fear of the Lord, you know, if you're going to end your life, you might have some fear of judgment, but you can't abide with it. So you never think that you're forgiven. You never understand God's love. But this is how God takes the heart of stone out of you and puts in the heart of flesh. He tells you He loves you. In spite of yourself, in spite of your sins, I love you. Yeah, sure. Now let's say you're told this message, right? But you don't get it. That's because you can't get it. You don't believe this is you believe that maybe if you do good works you might be able to buy His favor, but why bother? Because no matter how much good works you do, you know that you'll never be good enough anyway. See, the law makes you run. It may make you fear. Okay, when the cop comes, you know, and you're doing something wrong, you might be smoking something you shouldn't, or doing something wrong, you're going to bolt and run. All right? But while you're bolting and running, imagine love is chasing you down now. I love you. You sin that grace abounds, and you're doing all these terrible things, but God says, but I still love you, and I'm going to take you to heaven. In spite of yourself, I'm taking you to heaven. You could rob banks, rape, murder, pillage, whatever it is, right? It's like the story of Barabbas. If you ever watched the movie. What does this do to you when you know you're forgiven no matter what you do? Will you continue to sin? You might for a little while, but you see, the message will break you down. It's a little small message. What's going to break that rock in your heart? I love you. I love you, and you're going to heaven because you're mine. God's love is chasing you down. He's got you in His hand, and He's not going to let you go. He loves you. This is what changes your heart. This is the message that is the gospel message that actually has power. Any other gospel message that says, oh, well, but I don't know if God will take me to heaven because I haven't been given enough devotionals or enough prayer. That message is not powerful enough to make you love God. Why? Because how could you love God if you're not sure that He's going to give you heaven? You can't. All you can do is hate God because you see, you don't understand unconditional love. Unconditional love is the only thing that can set you free. It's the only message that will break you down. So no matter what you do, if you believe the message, God saves, Yeshua, okay? And you don't have to say His name, but if you believe I love you no matter what, that's the gospel. And what will the gospel do to you? You might sin, but as you're sinning, God says, I still love you. How do you feel? Well, not just guilty, but just like deflated. I love you? But I did this. How can you still love me? I still love you. That's the gospel. And if you realize that it's a powerful message, the tears will start busting out of your eyes. And you'll be saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. See, when that message takes hold of your heart, you're walking in His grace, let's see what you're doing. The more you sin, even though you're not doing it on purpose, and he's telling you he loves you, when the thank you comes, it comes from the heart. So now you're loving God with all your heart, all your mind, all your strength. You can't believe you're forgiven. And you start loving other people like yourself. You see, this is why walking by this, when you walk by the Spirit, you don't obey the sinful nature. Because you see the love of God has reached into your heart, taking the heart of stone out and put in a heart of flesh. God bless.